Old versus new, new versus old. A tale as old as time. But this is Beauty and the Beast, isn't it? Because I don't think anyone could argue that that's a prettier weapon than that one. So, with that being said, does it make this piece of plastic with front serrations now on it? Gen 5, you amaze me with your technology. Not much left out there of it. So what we have here is the SR1911 lightweight and the Glock Gen 5 21. Love them both. Fantastic guns, both of them, in 45 ACP, of course. Ammo for today is a Sellers and Beloit, I guess is how you say it. Sellers and Beloit, I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's 230 grain, just range ammunition. 8 rounds here, 13 in the mag there, 14 rounds total versus 9 rounds total. So when you're looking at the size difference between these two platforms, you can look at the magazines first and foremost. That tells you a lot. You got 13 in one, 8 in the other. Like I said, Wilson Combat mags, I like them a lot. Okay, and then you look at the actual size of the weapons themselves. I mean, that's a huge difference. It's cavernous on one and slimline on the other, but you can see the difference. I mean, and we'll get to weights in a minute. Does that make the Glock wrong or the 1911 right? No, it doesn't. Like I said, they're both outstanding firearms. Let's see what the old Glocker will do right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, empty. Mr. SR1911 by Ruger, lightweight, commander size. Oh yeah. Any misses from these firearms, absolutely on me and not the guns. But recoil differences all day long. The Glock is much, much softer in recoil than the SR. Again, you've got what, an aluminum with stainless, and you've got polymer with steel. So the polymer does do a good job of absorbing the recoil. I'm not doing a deep dive in either one of these. I'm just kind of bringing these two out here to shoot and compare a little bit. No, I did put some Talon grips on this Glock, as I normally do, and then I took the beaver tail and I cut it in half myself, rounded off the edges with some sandpaper and put it on there, and kind of created my own beaver tail. I don't particularly like Glocks without the beaver tail. I do like the fact that the Gen 5 put the front serrations on there. I like everything about the Gen 5 over the 4, to tell you the truth. Even the removal of the finger grooves. Wasn't a big fan of the finger grooves. They didn't not work. I just like it without them. I did put some Talon thumb points, or whatever you call it, here for gripping for 2 hands. And that works out well. The MOS is great. I've got another Glock 21 Gen 5 that I put the Holosun on. I like that a lot. The Ruger. Okay, so here's the thing. I did put a little piece of Talon grip tape here as well. And I also did, just like I do on my revolvers, I put a piece here. Other than that, I haven't had to do anything else to this firearm. You do got to make sure, as with all 1911s, to make sure your screws are tight. Keep your grips in place. I did have to sand down right here at the beaver tail, and you can probably see where some of the metal has been shined down. So what? I use my guns. I don't just stick them in a safe and leave them there. But I had to take a piece of sandpaper and I had to really sand this down because it was sharp. And I think I've read in some other forums where folks with the SR1911 had the same experience. It was just really sharp right through here, and even now you can still feel a little bit, but it's certainly not as bad as it used to be by a long shot. Other than that, Ruger did an outstanding job with the SR1911, in my opinion. I like everything about it. It's a good shooting gun. It's a accurate, very, very accurate 1911, as most 1911s are. You know, they'll say the trigger has a lot to do with that. I agree. But at the same time, I've had 1911s come out of the box that just don't shoot that great, even with that outstanding trigger. And that was not the case with this particular 1911. This Ruger shot very well. You can adjust the trigger if you want. I like the extended mag release on there as well. Just no back sights. Not a whole lot bad to say about the Ruger. The thing with the Glock is I put the factory night sights on here. Is the only thing I've done other than that and the Talon grip tape. I don't like them both. Like I said, recoil's a little more muted with the Glock. That polymer really absorbs the recoil. Doesn't make this a bad gun. Let's shoot them again, shall we? Okay. Glocker. Come on now. There we go. Yeah. There's more of a, when you're talking about feel and recoil, like I said, there is less recoil in the Glock, less felt recoil. I don't feel as much of the impact of the recoil transmitted into the hand as I do on the 1911. Again, metal versus polymer. But two-handed, I prefer the Glock. The size of the grip actually helps you when you're shooting two-handed because you can really lock into that gun. I mean, you can take two hands and crank into that sucker, especially with that Talon grip tape on there, and you can move fast. Can you do that with a 1911? Sure you can. And in a lot of cases, 1911s, you don't have to have the Talon grip tape because, I mean, I've got some here, of course, because it was smooth on the front, but some 1911s actually have front serrations on the grip. Take, for instance, a Colt Gold Cup. Now, you want to talk about a Cadillac of a ride. I'm a big fan of this Gold Cup. This one's got the Colt magazine with it from the factory. Not much difference from that in the Wilson Combat. But let's shoot it. There's the Colt. That's just a good feeling. You got that checkering on the front. Good. I don't know what the LPI is, 25, 30. I have no idea. The sights, that fiber sight. Oh man, does it do a great job. I mean, it picks up really, really well. It's much heavier than the SR1911 too. Much heavier. Okay. And I'm not regulated those sights. These Novaks is point and shoot. Those sights, you gotta kind of adjust them to your. Yep. Had to aim a little bit under with that, didn't I? As the Glock goes empty, especially one-handed, you can definitely tell how it kind of changes the feel in hand by way of recoil. I won't say it necessarily changes the entire shooting experience, But you can feel as a Glock goes empty, if you're shooting one hand, you're not shooting fast, how the lack of weight in the handle can adjust the flip on the front. Now, there's a fix for that. While you can put a comp on one, you can also put a light. And I've got an O light on there, a Valkyrie. I'll go into that in more in a minute. Let's just take a couple of shots here with each, just to kind of tell you, this is a very soft shooting. That is a very soft shooting firearm. Okay. Now, with the light on the front, does it make a difference, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And the answer is yes. It holds that nose down. It holds that nose down really, really well. When you put that light on the front, it just anchors that gun in the hand. And as the rounds come out and you feel a little bit less weight in the handle, the light still keeps that nose, that front end, down for you. And one-handed, it shows up, I'd say, more than two-handed. Also, you're shooting 45 ACP. Now, I'm not saying the same thing wouldn't happen with 9mm. You wouldn't notice as the gun empties out as much with a 9mm because it's a lighter round. I mean, these things, they're not lightweight little handgun rounds. I mean, that's 230 grains of old school badass right there. So you can absolutely tell that you got something when you're shooting it. You want to go over some weights? Let's do it. So let's start with the Colt. All right, the Gold Cup empty, okay, is 39 ounces without a magazine, 41.6 ounces with a mag, and then with 8 rounds in the mag and 1 in the pipe, you're at 48.1 ounces, so about 3 pounds. All right. The SR1911, you're looking at empty with no mag, 25.5 ounces. With an empty mag, 27.9. And I'm using the Wilson Combats, by the way, as the magazine. And then with 8 in the mag and 1 in the pipe, it's 34.4 ounces. When you come over to the Glock, that's when things start getting interesting. So empty, no magazine, I registered 25.3. With an empty magazine, it's 28.4. If you calculate it with 14 rounds, that's 1 in the pipe, 13 in the mag, you're at 38.5 ounces. All right. Now this is let's see, this Olight PL Turbo Valkyrie. And I bought a smaller Valkyrie light or a smaller Olight for my Glocks. I like the big one better. I mean, I do. The smaller one had more lumens, and to me, this one just is so much brighter. So I like it. That light is 4.6 ounces, okay? So on average, and the ammunition that I used, so you know, is critical duty 220 grain plus P. 9 rounds of that, going off the 1911s, was 6.5 ounces, okay? And for 14 rounds of the same ammunition, critical duty 220 grain plus P, for 14 rounds of that, it was about 10.1 ounces if you went by way of the Glock. So the Wilson Combat Mag, I may have said this already, was 2.4 ounces empty. So that's just some weights that you can play with. Holsters, all right? I'm not breaking out a lot of holsters, but this Safariland that I use with the Glock, and I can use my 19X with that too. That Safariland holster, let's see, it's 5.6 ounces, okay? And then if you go with, some folks may knock that holster, some don't, but that is just a plain old Glock polymer holster I got from their website. That's actually a good little holster, y'all. It works. I mean, Glock knew what they were doing when they put it together. Is it fancy? No. Does it have good retention for the most part and do its job? Yeah. I mean, I've never had any trouble out of it, and the guns always fit just right. There's one for 45, and I think there's one for 9. I think your bigger, like your 20 will fit in the 45 one. I don't know that to be true, but I would say so. If somebody else knows more than I do, you can put it in the comments. But the Glock holster is like 2 ounces. So, I mean, if you wanted to go absolutely minimalist and strip the light off the front and just go with the plain old Glock holster, you can shave a lot of weight off that. For the 1911s, it's a little different. Now, I got a bunch of 1911 holsters, but I'm just going to give you one because it's probably one of my favorites. I love the color, but when you first get it and you put your guns in and out of it, it shaves the inside of that red ox blood leather off into your gun, and you will be cleaning them a whole bunch, let me promise you that. $17.91 holster if you get it in that color. $17.91 leather holster is 5.5 ounces, and that will fit either one of those with no problem. So there's your holsters that I'm looking at today, and kind of gives you an idea of the weight of what each one would be at. Capacity versus size versus weight, and weight does matter. To me, the Glock kind of splits the difference in all regards. Honestly, when I put 2 hands on that gun, there's not much that'll outshoot it. That Gold Cup is an outstanding firearm. And it just does something. Would I carry it? Probably not. Could you? Sure. It's a lot of weight, though. When you got the extra capacity, recoil absorption, accuracy, I mean, it's really tough to argue. Glock mags, generally speaking, I mean, there's a joke about it. When they build a new gun, does it take Glock mags, right? There's a reason for that. These two, and I was telling you about Wilson Combat. Let me just show you something here. 1911s are a little more finicky, okay? At least that's what the reputation is for. This is a Wilson Combat mag. Okay? Now, this is a Colt magazine, okay? It's got the pony on. All right, I got the Colt mag in. Now watch. All right? That's the difference. Now, does that matter in the Gold Cup as much? I don't know. Let's find out. There's the Wilson Combat mag. It comes right out. And of course, I know that the Colt magazine will come right out. All I'm doing is letting you know, I mean, for as great as Wilson Combat mags are, and they are outstanding, but if you want to dump that magazine, that Wilson Combat mag out quickly, I haven't got one to do it yet with my SR1911, but the pony, the Colt will, it'll fall out. And I'm saying that only to mention, I'm not knocking Wilson at all. They're outstanding magazines. All I'm saying is with 1911s, they're a little more finicky than what your standard old Glock magazine's going to do. And so yeah, it's just a saying, the magazines, you got to check your mags, you got to check your ammos at 1911. Glocks, not so much. They pretty much are known for feeding everything. Doesn't matter what you put through them. And although they won't shoot their magazines out there like a 1911, if you want to see a perfect execution on how to dump a Glock mag out of a Glock, check out James Reeves on TFB TV. He always gets that flip right. And he kicks it out there and that magazine flies. You can alter it and make it high speed and do all kinds of aftermarket things to it to make it fast, but it's designed to be a tool and work, and it does just that very well. Outstanding. That is a fantastic firearm. Ruger, where's it at? Small piece. Yep. Hit it. Okay. And let's just top it off with the Glock here. Look at the size of that thing. It's a tank, isn't it? But it gets the job done, doesn't it? Super soft, even compared to the Gold Cup. Very soft. Yeah. Outstanding gun. Outstanding. Hard to pick a winner. I'll say this, they're all winners. If you were going to carry one of them on the daily, as heavy as 45 ACP is, I'd probably go right here. honestly. It's slim, much slimmer than the Glock. Weight-wise, I mean, you're talking what? 34.4. This is without the holster, of course. 34.4 versus 38.5. So, I mean, you're saving a couple of rounds anyway. And it's much slimmer. You've got the safeties. And if you get a holster that covers the hammer in the back, it's super, super safe. But you're never wrong with any of these. If you go at them with the right mindset, get the proper equipment, which is the proper holster, test it out with the ammo and the magazines, you're never making a wrong choice with any of these. Definitely, this is more of a precision instrument. If you're going to be shooting bullseyes, that would be the one I would pick. If you were going to carry, I would probably take that one to be sure. Again, you can transition any of them into home defense with no problem. For home defense, I will tell you this would probably take first place. Just the round count alone. And with a Terran Tactical base plate, I think you can get up to 17 rounds of 45 ACP. And son, that ain't no joke. So for home defense, especially with the big light on it, it's damn hard to go wrong with the Glock 21. And if you told me I could never have another 45 ACP handgun, which one would I take? I'm going right there. Every time, that's where I'm going. I shoot it well enough. It's definitely accurate enough. Again, you can mod that thing out to be as high speed as you want to. You can leave it just as it sits, and it's great for the tool that it is right out of the box. I mean, Ruger did a whole lot right with their SR1911. They really did. This piece right here that holds that spring and plunger system in place, that's staked to the gun. That'll never come off and break. I've never had it happen to me, but obviously there's some experiences out there who have. And that's one of the things they fixed. I think it's got a titanium feed ramp in it. Let's look. Tried to get in there and clean it up a little bit so you can see. They put a titanium feed ramp in that thing for and long-term reliability on this lightweight aluminum housing. Ruger did a lot right with this gun, and I find no fault with it. Like I said, the only problems I've had out of it is when I first got it, you really had to, I had to sandpaper this stuff, and it's still sharp now, but it was so sharp it was uncomfortable to shoot. Whereas if you pick up that Gold Cup, everything is just blended very well. It's smooth feeling. I mean, the second you pick that gun up and the second when you pick that up, you can tell a difference. You can tell a difference in the feel. That just feels like a far more refined machine than the Ruger. But that being said, neither is wrong. Really want to have some fun. This is a 10 round 1911 magazine by Chip McCormick. You know, that's your sharpshooter. That'd be a great EDC. This would be your great home defense. But any one of these can transition into the other role just as easily. The only exception being this one may be a little bit rougher on you if you're going to shoot a whole lot of rounds just because it's a lighter weight. Could you do it? Sure. 45 ACP is a soft shooting round. It's got some kick to it, but it's a slow push. There's truth to that. So, I mean, you could run a lot of rounds through it. I probably wouldn't want to. I'd go with something a little heavier or bigger in the grip. That absorbs some of the recoil with the polymer if I was going to do a whole lot of shooting. But that ain't to say you couldn't shoot this gun a lot as an EDC and practice with it a lot. You absolutely could. Just know that the sharp edges would probably be felt a little more than what, say, the refinement of this or the rounded off of the Glock and the polymer absorption. You're going to notice that difference if you did try that, to run that as a range gun all day long. Past that, all three are fantastic guns. I love all three for different reasons, and I'm glad I have all three of them. Ain't a wrong choice on the table, boys. All are winners.